We've all seen the videos, turquoise water, golden beaches, people saying it's the best country in the world. Oh wait, I make those sorts of videos. That's a bit awkward. And none of them are lying. Australia is one of the most beautiful countries you could ever visit. So many people move here. But here's what nobody really sits down to have a chat with you about. Moving here will teach you lessons you didn't expect. And there are 3 that hit me really hard that I thought I should share with you. And that last one, that one has changed the way I see this whole adventure. So if you're the kind of person who wants more from life, if you've been quietly thinking about packing up and moving to Australia, then grab a cup of tea, grab a snack, and let's have the chat that I wish someone had with me before I moved here. Chapter 1. The grass isn't always greener. You'd think sitting in your own Australian garden on a beautiful golden afternoon, I'm looking at a palm tree over there, you'd think you'd be sitting here and you'd feel like you made it. You're satisfied. There's nothing more I could want in life. And don't get me wrong, I adore living here. I really, really do. And my wife being a Brisbane girl herself, it's amazing to see her thrive here as well and to be here with her family and doing so well in her career and business. I love that. Going for a run in the bushland every morning, seeing rainbow lorikeets and bush turkeys. It's another world compared to what I spent the first, 23 years of my life growing up in. But here's the thing that no one really talks about, right? You can be sat on a beach on the Gold Coast, right? You could have a lovely ice cold drink in hand, sun on your face, and maybe good people around you. And you'll still miss the cold, grey drizzle of the UK. You know, all those things you complained about for so many years. I can't wait to leave. As soon as I'm in Australia, I'm going to do this and this and this. I'm never looking back, right? Trust me, the strangest things will creep up on you. And I want to be really clear, this isn't a whinge about Australia. This is quite possibly one of the best places you could ever live, even when you get homesick. But I just want to make the point that you might have convinced yourself that you'll never, ever want anything more from life. You'll never, ever miss home. You're already braver than most, so there are going to be times where you're like, okay, I maybe want to visit somewhere new now, and that is okay. And the truth is, it's not because you're an ungrateful person, it's just because you clearly have an affinity for life. You love living and exploring. And because of that, you will start to miss home over time, and it's okay. That's very normal. Also, I love my mum and dad so much. They brought me up with the belief that if there's something I want to achieve in life, I have to do it myself. Nobody is going to come and save me. Nobody's going to do it for me. I remember Monday nights, I was tired and frustrated. My mum sitting with me, not doing my maths homework for me, don't worry, but saying to me, Sam, get on with it. What are you doing? And I was just procrastinating. So if you ever feel like something's lacking in your life, well, only you can fix that. A country isn't going to fix that for you. And it's really important to remember that if you are in your home country right now, maybe you're in the UK like I was and thinking Australia's going to sort everything out for me. Well, that grass is always greener feeling will still be there once the novelty of living in Australia has worn off. And you're probably thinking, well, Sam, if I'm that sort of person, what am I meant to do then? Am I just going to be, wanting to move countries every single time? And no, you just practice gratitude. So while you're building your adventure, it's good to practice that gratitude. And some people suggest for you to write down 3 to 5 things every single day. I just do it in my head while I'm doing something. Often when I'm going for my run in the morning, I'll think to myself, okay, these are the few things that I'm grateful for. And that alone really helps to get rid of that unsatisfied grass is always greener feeling, and for you to feel secure and like you have made it. Because if you've moved all the way to Australia, in my opinion, you've made it. Obviously keep dreaming bigger, but that's an awesome thing. So build your adventure. By the way, there's a whole exclusive episode never before seen on my Patreon. And this also gives you access to the full back catalogue of Patreon only videos. So there's a QR code there or a link in the description below if you want a cheeky look. And that leads me to the next realization. Chapter 2. The flight doesn't fix you. Do you like what I've been doing? It's really hard to get that on time. There's something dangerous about a long haul flight. Not being 35,000 feet into the air. You're watching films, being handed food, and it lets your brain start wondering on what you're going to do when you land in Australia. I'm going to join a run club. I'm going to get that guest star role in a TV show. I'm going to go to every event. I'm going to build my biggest adventure yet. And then you land and time doesn't expand. You still have the same 24 hours you had back in your home country, still the same habits that are lingering on until you break them and rebuild new ones. And so I got here, and although I was, basking in the glorious sunshine, it was warmer, the coffee was better, I noticed that immediately, my job, my health, my relationships, they weren't getting better because I was still holding on to the old version of me, the UK me, the one who, I'm embarrassed to admit, don't tell anyone I said this, but I would sometimes be like, oh, this is better in the UK, this is better in the UK. And then I realised I'm not in the UK anymore, Sam. This is your new home and you need to appreciate it properly. I mean, one of the reasons why I started making these videos is because I wanted to talk about all of the positivity and optimism that Australia brings. There's so much to be grateful for here, and so many people online these days just want to complain, just want to tear you down, and so the more positivity you can put into people's lives, the better. And anyone can do that. You don't need a big following. And this isn't me, preaching at you. This is kind of like a letter to myself, what I wish someone told me, and that's, you've got your new home now, so treat it like a fresh new beginning, okay? And the truth is, when I landed, I didn't join a run club. I didn't land that guest star acting job. I didn't, go to all the events and, make $1 million or whatever. And I very quickly realized that if I wanted to take advantage of this privileged, amazing opportunity that some people might not get in their lifetime, then I actually need to get off my bum, stop doing my bad habits that I had in the UK, stop being lazy, right? And get out there and get stuff done. And so while I was whinging about still being a freelancer in Australia, because I had to pay the rent and bills and wanting to, do YouTube and do my acting career and stuff, I thought, well, if I actually want that, I'm going to need to work a little bit harder, aren't I? And yes, maybe I can't go to the beach every single day, and that's okay. So what I'm trying to say is that while you're in the UK, and you've got free time while you're on that long haul flight, your brain will start dreaming about all the things you're going to do in Australia, and then you'll get here and you probably won't do them right away unless you make yourself do it. Because let's be honest, change is very hard even if you've made the decision to do it. It's very easy to say to yourself and to other people, I'm going to achieve X, Y, and Z. But actually doing that is a very different feeling to the dopamine you get from telling people about all your goals, right? And you know what else is not magically going to happen? You hitting that little subscribe button and leaving the 87% of people who regularly watch these videos and aren't yet subscribed. So why not? Treat yourself. Anyway, chapter 3, Paradise has a price. Rhythm. I got rhythm. Australia is incredible. The lifestyle, even better. On about the same income as I was making in the UK, I have a much more comfortable life here. But here's the trade-off. If you love your family, you will want to see them. Duh. I know that sounds like common sense, but I need to emphasise that when you're living in Australia, it's not a quick train or coach journey back to mum and dad's. That's a 24-hour long flight. And that's just the flight alone, mixed in with the transfer to the airports and then, checking in and, being there 3 hours early, a lot of airlines recommend. That's almost like a day and a half to 2 days worth of your time. Not to mention if you're flying from the UK to Australia, it will probably set you back a few thousand Australian dollars, about 1,500 British pounds if you go with a decent airline. That's not just a cheap bus ticket home, that's a huge investment. And so you have to start properly planning for this. You have to budget for it. You have to get on top of your finances. And if you're not doing it already, budget for everything as much as you possibly can and create a savings pot. And if you can automate it where you automatically send 10, 20, however much percent of your income into that savings pot specifically for flights and visiting loved ones back at home, do it. You not only have to budget for that homesickness, but accept that every time you feel homesick, you won't be able to pop on that flight and go back unless you are a millionaire with a private jet. And the other thing, which feels like a bit of a hassle, is that you have to build your life around this. You have to make sure that the job or business you're running brings in enough money to do this and pay for your living expenses. It's hard. You might see a lot of your loved ones buying a new fancy car and going on these lavish holidays, and maybe you can't afford it because not only do you get to live in Australia, but you're spending that disposable income on the long haul flight back home. But here's the twist. When your career or business, your lifestyle and your budgeting spreadsheet all work together and they start funding your independence, you get something really special. You realise that you're not trapped, but you've actually achieved something insanely difficult that most people have not in their life. And If you've done that, or if you're even planning on that, you should be really, really proud. I really mean that, because it is a huge leap. Even though sometimes I feel like I don't want to edit that video, and I don't want to, you know, film that show reel, or, you know, have to film a self-tape to send in for an audition. You do it anyway, because you know that future you will be really thankful and grateful that you did that. Because if I want the beach and the bushland adventure, then I have to fund it. And I have to budget for it too, because while I want to build my own adventure and have this Australian dream, I still want to hug my mum at Christmas. And Australia, it hasn't fixed me by any means, but it has helped me grow so much more. If somebody told me these 3 things before I landed here, I would have been less stressed at times, that's for certain. But if you want to keep the adventure going, go watch and click this video here, all about the 5 strange health habits that Australians do, but Brits don't. And make sure to hit that subscribe button to join our lovely community. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.